Merry Christmas! I know, I just jumped in, didn't I? That's crazy, right? But I am dressing like I am a big Christmas tree. Or Yoshi Claus. I'm Miss Yoshi Claus. There we go. Alright, so Merry Christmas, guys! I know Christmas is a little bit more than a week away, but I love to celebrate Christmas like every day before Christmas. I love Christmas. It's so much fun. Alright, so I hope you guys are having a great Christmas. Before I get started with the story, I got something to tell you guys. If you look outside, it's snowing. Well, I don't know what the time frame you'll watch this, but right now, it is snowing. On this wonderful Wednesday, it's snowing outside, and I love it because it makes it feel like Christmas. You can have some hot cocoa, go play and build a snowman. You know, that fun stuff. So, let's hope and pray that we get snow for Christmas, because we could have a white Christmas, and that'd be so much fun. Ooh. Yeah, I just love snow and I love Christmas. Okay, guys, I'll calm down. I know I'm freaking you out, so sorry. Alright, so before we get started, we're going to start with this story about Jacob. But before I tell you what the story and the lesson is about, we have to kind of understand what happened last week. So last week, Miss Anna had talked about Jacob's dream and about how, you know, he deceived his brother, all this little thing that add together. One thing is that Jacob deceived his brother, Esau, into this blessing. And the blessing back in that time was very important. He deceived his own father and Esau, and he ends up getting the blessing, which Esau is supposed to get it because he's the oldest. The oldest gets that, and then the youngest doesn't. He tricks his brother, and his brother finds out, and he gets really angry. He gets so mad, like his face is like all red, and you're like, I don't want to mess with this guy, right? He gets so mad that he wants to kill Jacob. Now that's a very strong word, guys, because that's not cool if you want to kill someone. And he was really wanting to kill his own brother because he's just tired of his deceitfulness and things he was doing. So he tricked his brother, or Jacob tricks his brother. So he gets mad. Well, Jacob finds out from his mother, Rebecca, and she's like, hey, you need to get out. Your brother's going to kill you. It's not looking good right now. You need to go. So Jacob was like, oh, I got to get out of here. This isn't looking good. I got to go. So he goes and he comes across his Uncle Laban. And his Uncle Laban has got his own place and is away from his home. So he's a long ways from home. He decides to stay with his Uncle Laban and, you know, ends up working for him and doing all this stuff. Well, while he was with his Uncle Laban and the whole family, he found this beautiful girl named Rachel. So Rachel was a beautiful girl. He really liked her. He was like, whew, she's so pretty, right? He liked her. And so he knew that in order if he wanted to be with her and to marry her, he had to work for it. This is how it was back in the biblical times, is you had to work for something. Like, if you have a really cool toy you guys have, and you're like, oh, I really want that. You have to work for it, right? Your parents are like, well, if you do your laundry, if you fold your clothes, you pick up your toys, clean your bedroom, help clean the house, you can have that toy. And you're like, I'll do it, right? That's really what Jacob did, is that Laban said, if you work for me for 7 years, 7 years. Now some of you are probably 7, right? And you're like, whoa, that's my whole lifetime right there. That's 7 years. And so he had to pretty much work that many years in order to marry. And he worked 7 years, and he did everything he was supposed to do. He was good. He did what he was told. That's good, right? He did all that. And you're like, yeah. Well, it was time for him to marry Rachel. So Jacob was like, hey, I have done what you told me to do. I have done it. I have done it. I'm ready to marry Rachel. And Laban is like, okay, all right. So they get ready for the wedding, and they're getting all festive and like, ooh, yay, right? one more thing I'm leaving out here is that back in the time, the ladies, when they got ready to get married, they had this huge thick veil over them. And the men couldn't really see who they were marrying. They had no idea what the person looked like. They just knew who they were marrying, but they didn't see the person they were marrying. And Jacob was marrying someone that was not, it was pretty much not Rachel. He was not marrying Rachel. So he gets married, and this is where we're going to kind of find out here. So if you guys have your Bibles, open to Genesis 29:25. Alright? If you don't, just listen. Alright? When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? I served for you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" Whoa, wait a minute. You didn't marry Rachel. You married someone else, her sister. Older, Leah, right? So he didn't marry the right person. He married someone else. Now, this is where Laban tricked him. Laban wanted Jacob to marry his oldest daughter first before the youngest. And so he tricked him, and he very much deceived Jacob. Now, didn't we know something sounds familiar? Jacob deceived his own brother. And the fact that this is coming back and he's having a taste of his own medicine, where it's kind of like he's having a taste of his own thing that's happening that he did to someone. And it happened to him. He was deceived by his own uncle. And that's just crazy because he had just deceived his brother. So it kind of like comes back right there. And it's not cool to be deceived. And he was really upset about that. And Jacob became really angry. He was frustrated. He was mad. He was like, oh, right? You gotta take a deep breath. You don't want to be punching a wall or anything. That would not be good. Right? But eventually, Laban kept his word. Or not Laban. Why am I saying that? Laban. There you guys. Laban kept his word. And he eventually, a week later, Jacob got to marry Rachel. So he got to marry her. But it was just a whole process that all this. Now, some of you are thinking, wait a minute, Yoshi, wait. He just married someone, and now he's married another person a week later? Huh? Yes, I know. I think about that too sometimes. But back in the day, that's how it was, is that they would marry multiple people. So the gentlemen were allowed to marry multiple girls, or multiple women. And they were able to do that. So he was still able to marry Rachel, even though he ended up having 2 wives, right? So that was one of the part of our story here today, is that Jacob was deceived. He was tricked into doing something that he didn't realize it was happening. And that's not cool, right? And I know you guys have probably been deceived before. Somebody's probably like tricked you into do something that you shouldn't have done. And that's not fine. And this is something that we can learn. Jacob could have chosen to punch Laban, could have hurt him physically, whatever, but he didn't. He ended up continuing to work for him and continuing to do what he was told. That's an example that we can do. When we are deceived, we don't want to get mad, frustrated, and wish something worse on them, right? We want to be like, I'll pray for them. I hope that they will change their ways. So we want to pray for them, and then pray that they don't deceive others as well, and be there for them. So that's one of the lessons for today here, is that just learning that if we are going to be deceived by someone, that's something we can't change. We're always going to be deceived by someone. We can change how we're going to react to it. So if we're going to punch someone, that's not a great reaction. What we can do is step aside and just say, I didn't appreciate what you did, but please don't do that again. And walk away. And don't aggravate them. Don't make it worse. Just walk away, right? Jacob was a perfect example for that. So, that is my story for you guys. And that I hope that you enjoyed this lesson and learned that always learn to have the right attitude when someone deceives you, is be calm, pray for them, and just walk away, right? So, I'm going to get going, and I'm going to go have some hot chocolate and go play in the snow. Okay? So you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys later. All right, bye.